What's that? Big three. Yeah, I'm gonna stop by 7:20 at that. So.
Yeah, definitely. 7:20 definitely open. We the building. We have watch some football over there. Chilling, but we open. That.
Over there.
Yeah.
214.
214. What's up? What's going on, man? How's everything?
I'm watching, man. I'm paying attention to
I appreciate it.
always.
Trying to do our part, you know that.
I dig it.
Yeah, them brothers working for real, but they got that action, man.
Yeah.
They talking too. And when you look at that and say, yeah, that's nice to see a whole bunch of individuals doing their thing, but what does it look like to be doing our thing together as a collective? What are we doing as a collective? Because, you know, I don't want to say races, we'll just say other colors, they do it. You know what I'm saying? They do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? They got their own suits, they got their own social club, they got their own everything. You know what I'm saying?
The Asians are recession proof.
Yeah.
They do it.
Yeah.
They do it. That's the model. They do it all the time. We're here. And then each one of them may be screaming like, yo, I got the solution. I got the solution. No, I got the solution. No, I got the solution. As a collective,
There, I think it will. When you come up with a solution, if there's not an application to, you know what I'm saying, apply the solution, so you know what I mean? And I'm saying as a collective, because I know individually, like you said, there are groups that are executing themselves, but when a solution is brought up, like for the collective, there's gotta be some application. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we can talk about a quote solution, but what does it really look like for us to come together as a collective? What does it look like? I think personally it's group economics. Like group economics is where we really have power. You know what I mean? I think practicing group economics shows that we are a collective. That is, you know, a solution that's application driven.
That's true.
Yeah, that's how
I think
that's
what
how I
I like about this often is the consensus, right? We all have different issues. We're all in different environments. We all have different jobs, raised different ways, live in different areas. But as a race, black people, young and old, we have to have a consensus on exactly what we need. You know, what we need. And so that way we can get to a common place, because some people's wants and needs, or one community's wants and needs are not the same. So I think developing a way to get a general consensus to move forward, that's the only way we're going to be able to get everybody on one accord, one agenda to push forward. You know?
I agree.
I'm a firm believer in power economics. But yeah, group economics, that's right.
Yeah, I think that. I think coming together as a collective. I'm gonna just ask you, Ty, how do we do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Do we form our own census group? Like, is that what we have to do? Because we can't take their word for it. When I say they, I think we all know when we say we talk about that. So, what does that look like, dude?
Yeah, I think you know, it has to start local in a sense. You know what I mean? Local being local municipality and the state level, but we have to be creative. We have to use technology. We We have to use door to door on the streets, going to door, asking people, even if, you know, we come up with a form that people can fill out that says, hey, these are the most important things that I need right now to sustain my family and myself. And these are the next things I need to grow and achieve my goals. And just take, you know, communicate with each other, these type of conversations, but more, you know, yeah. But I think that's the starting point. You know, I'm a firm believer on going door to door.
Yeah, really 10 toes down, boots to the ground. That's the first method we've always used. However, like I said, technology is definitely, it's one of those facts. You know what I'm saying? I love to use this word facts: food, art, clothing, technology, transportation, strategy, shelter. Um, those facts, everyone deals with those facts. So I don't care what you believe in, everyone has to eat food. Everyone deals with the art, and music, and entertainment. You know what I'm saying? We're all over that. See clothing, we wear clothing. You know what I'm saying? To keep their shelter in order. You know what I mean? So we come together on these facts and take the initiative to really is mastered, then we can start to do what you're saying, with taking our own consensus. So I'm definitely in agreement. The world, you know what I'm saying? You've seen a lot of very season. You've seen how other groups of black people have been in other places. I know we talk about Connecticut, Woodbury, what we're doing here, but from your perspective, what's your take?
I'm an agreeance, you know, to a degree. I think Woodbury falls short because of its division. Um, as I was speaking about before, with all these groups and their reasons behind what they're doing, there's subtle agendas and nobody's really on the same page. Like even before a couple of years back, we used to have a community set up over at the Y. And June and myself, we used to invite different people to come through just to sit out and talk. You know, like this is actually good. The history of Woodbury was actually a thriving town before most of the industries left. And this is what we end up with right now. You know what I mean? So I think we should go back and start knocking on the churches, doing some of these pastors and ministers and stuff like that. And we're in churches every Sunday or whatever you're doing it now. And try to unify first, and then we start our agendas or what's needed on the table. Unity first. That's just my outlook.
Check.
Peace, Willie. All right.
Tester.
Tester.
Testing. 1, 2.
Anybody knew that when you were supposed to get outside, the reason for that is too many just don't talk to me. You know, I was talking about and allow people to have questions. There was a panel discussion a couple of morning people who are in the streets every day. And you poll them, ask them some questions, and I was scared to just please be respectful of each other.
Make sure y'all share this video. I need y'all to share this video. Give me some powerful information packing this video. Community great.
All right. All right. I want to introduce everyone, all the leaders here today. We got Harold Chuel.
What's up?
We have Athenia Wagner. We have Lorraine Pittman Jr. We have Tyler McDonald. And we have Demetri Coates. Our debate.
Clinton, George Soros, they are not coming to Waterbury, Connecticut, cutting nobody checks. They're not coming nowhere around here cutting anybody checks. Now, there's a bigger part of the Black Lives Matter agenda that, so, it's easy to get confused in a sense. It's easy to get confused of the bigger agenda and what we mean on the streets. What we mean on the streets is not what the agenda is pushing. It's pushing in a sense. What we mean on the streets is our lives as Black people matter. It's not killing. That's what I say.
Not really saying Black Lives Matter, but I do feel like it's important for people to understand that we're saying, when we do say Black Lives Matter, that we're saying that because we feel like you guys don't feel like our lives matter. And not only that, I feel like it's also important for us to explain to our community that our lives do matter. Like senseless things that's going on in the streets, our lives matter to us too. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, with television, entertainment, and certain things that people watch, they're brainwashing people to make them feel like I gotta have a problem with this man, and I don't. And when I come to understanding that his life matters and my life matters as Black men and Black women in our community, that's what I push for when it comes to Black Lives Matter. Because, like I always say, we got enough people fighting against us. We need to fight for us.
All right. That was question number one. Now, question number two. From the Will Be alumni. Black Lives Matter. I am not sure about your agenda and the purpose of your SART. How does your movement match up with the anyone? We're not going to call out names.
Right? It's like people look at, you go on BlackLivesMatter.com and you read that agenda of what they have up there. It's not, we aren't the same people pushing. I'm always going to be honest. A lot of people, when they go on BlackLivesMatter.com, will see things with the LGBTQ community and they try and discredit the movement, but we're all Black people. We are all facing oppression. And our agenda is really to free our people. We are still enslaved in America to this day. Many other nations and races have been able to receive reparations. We haven't got reparations. And this whole country was built on our back. The whole entire thing, down to the White House. I would just tell people that put Black Lives Matter with an agenda to remove that from your head, because that's a political way to think, and that is it's essentially an incorrect way to think. Black Lives Matter because we're Black people and we are getting killed disproportionately more than our white counterparts. That's just it. Separate the agenda from me.
I could have said it. I could have said it a little better. Mic check. I'm just gonna say that I could have said it no better. Like that is perfect. You know what I mean? How they try to Black Lives Matter is like a politically correct way to say the Black struggle. That's BS. That's total BS. Like, you know what I'm saying? Stop it. Like, you know what I mean? We were struggling long before this saying Black Lives Matter came out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Being oppressed. So I totally agree with you 100%.
Whether you call it the civil rights movement, or whether you call it the Black Lives Matter movement, it's the same struggle. We're struggling for equality. We're struggling for justice. We're struggling against racism. And it's been the same then, it's the same now. We're struggling for economic empowerment. We're struggling for equality in education. We're struggling for equality in housing, and the list goes on. So whether you call it the civil rights movement, whether you call it Black Lives Matter movement, the struggle remains the same.
I said.
To answer that question, we have to understand how the Black Lives Matter movement can start. The Black struggle, like Ms. Sabina just said, comes as a broad range of problems. Black Lives Matter literally started only to combat police brutality. And into recent years, there's been people in the movement or the corporation, whatever you want to label it, that have tried to expand that until then, until what it is now, covering everything. So what we need to do is stop looking at Black Lives Matter as a savior for us right now. We all agree that Black people in Waterbury are dealing with different things than Black people who came in Bridgeport and Hartford, so there is no one-size-fits-all solution. So like what Tyler was saying, and I agree. Black Lives Matter just brings highlights the issue, brings them to the light so that more people know about it. They can give you suggestions in a broad sense. But the true work to get down to the problems that are unique to the Black community in each area, that has to be done by the people on the ground. And we just need to keep it one to the left, one to the right, and move forward that way.
You got to do the legwork. I also feel like when it comes to the communities, it starts Waterbury strong. We built something in Waterbury and we're implementing in Waterbury. And so I feel like when it comes to us, every place is different. And we need to focus on home before we can focus on the national level. Because our home is burning right now. You know? But yeah, there's things going on everywhere, but we need to focus on home before we focus on anything on the national level. Of course, we're going to be part of it, and what we're doing is going to be part of that national level. You know, but I really feel like it starts building communities within home instead of the higher first, before we can look at a Black Lives Matter.
I agree that Waterbury needs their own agenda because it's unique to this particular city. However, who is that agenda being presented to? Because everybody's not listening. My question is, am I not supposed to ask a question or a comment? My question would be, go on. Who are we deciding, we, the people, the community, deciding our Black leaders are? Because I'm tired of the oppressor deciding who our Black leaders are, and our agenda goes absolutely nowhere. We're not even being heard. We're not even being talked to. We're not even being considered to be part of the discussion table. They'd rather label us with negative titles. I don't care what they call me. I don't care what they say. It is what it is, and I am who I am, and I stand for what I stand for. But we need to, when you talk about community unity, we need to get to those people that are chosen by the oppressor and say, hey, we got something to say. Yes. We don't know what you're saying, because you're not even talking to us. Come on. But we got something to say. And if you're gonna be the chosen one at the table, here's what I want you to put out there. Here's what I need you to talk about. Here's what I need you to do. Because the self-gratification, folks at the table, they not doing nothing for nobody out here in this community.
That's right.
Then I'll just tap something real quick. I think someone said it before we kind of really got officially started, but really our faith leaders and that is a big part. I know with the younger generation, it's a little bit harder in a sense because you're not congregated. We're not easy to be able to get to when there's no leader, but our churches have faith leaders, majority Black, and a lot sit at the table with these people. And they need to not only talk to us, they need to listen to us, and they need to understand that just because it may work for them and the people around them, it's not working for everyone else. And yeah, I'm bringing those people to the table because it's not just faith leaders. To speak candidly, like in our city, the mayor will reach to certain people for a long period of time. And we mentioned this on the radio. He said, you build these relationships with people over 30 years. Now, what about us? They've been here for 30 years. So, yeah, so 25, right? So that's really how we feel. But the ones that are in charge, like even said, are not in charge. The ones that are so-called leaders of it, and we're just not going to let it continue after we've been hit with COVID. We're just.
I strongly call them out publicly, because that's gonna come. If they don't get it together, that's gonna come. If I have to do it by myself, I don't have a problem with it because it's coming. But before we get to that point, we need to, as a group, as a people, Waterbury Strong, myself, whoever, needs to come to them and set up a meeting with just us, not the oppressors in charge, just us, so that we can speak frankly to each other and see if we can build that bridge and, put our agendas together and put them out there. Now, if that happens to be unsuccessful, or doesn't happen for some reason, I recommend just calling them out for what it is. It's time. It's time. It's just time.
All right. I wanna speak on that, young man, Tommy. You made a good point. I'm a certified high school football coach. Okay. Now, when I would talk to these young kids, what you said, they're on it. They just want you to listen to it. I mean, something so simple, so hard. These kids, that's starting fast. It's like we don't have time to listen to these kids until something happens.
It's really can't continue.
Oh, yes. This is when we're going to have to continue on this. All right, now, we're going to go to question number 3. It has been over 100 days since Mr. George Floyd was killed. How have you changed? How has
reason why we see it is because there's cameras around everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is shooting the police. I take that quote, shouts out to Fly Ride, for that brilliant poem he had, Shoot the Police. Um, that 100 days, when you said that 100 days, it made me think of 100 years ago. It wasn't like 100 years ago what happened right here in America. It's no different than then, you know what I mean? We're just desensitized to it, you know what I mean? It's to the point where, you know what I'm saying? So if you look like me, talk like me, then I'm gonna tell you, like, yo, bro, you shouldn't be doing that. Regardless, before it would look stupid, like, yo, you don't got nothing to do with that, stay out of it. But it's really interacting with each other in the community and saying, yo, put the guns down, man. Like, I don't understand why you can't throw, part of my language, you can't throw your dick beaters up and then go home, you know what I'm saying? It's really, you know what I'm saying, teaching each other how to solve our problems, not through physical means. Like, so a lot of people just tap into the physical and ain't doing no spiritual work. You know what I mean? So that's really what's missing, you know what I mean? This whole hood, bravado, macho. And I mean, I'm kind of getting away from George Floyd because it's like we got to protect each other and start working on each other. You know what I'm saying? We like, I could basically say it, man. Fuck the police, like fuck the police and what they doing. You know, even though they're killing us, we got to start working on each other spiritually. So when because we've been under spiritual attack, we think it's just physical. That's what's happening. So for GGD 720, we think the work has to be done spiritually. That way, we're protected as a people. So when that happens, it's not going to be the same. Like, you know what I mean? And everybody can see. I think, you know, a lot of us was on the front lines here in Waterbury. We had a crazy outrage after George Floyd. It was serious. You know what I'm saying? It was serious. Like, a lot of us really stood up, and it was people that I met that in Waterbury that I didn't even know. Like, seeing them in passing, like this woman over here, I didn't know her until that day. And it was like, you know, I had the same feeling. And some of them came to me and told me that they hadn't seen a young black man stand up to a group of, you know what I'm saying, white people like that in a long time. And I could, spiritually, it empowered me. Spiritually, it empowered me. But physically, I lost my job. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things happened after George Floyd died, just for me, because I was on the front line, like really protesting and really making sure that if it was going to be women and children out there, we were going to be out there and make sure that they wasn't going to push on nobody and like we wasn't having it. Like that's what we thought about. You know what I mean? So for us, it was like we got to get out there and protect women and children, and protect our own, and stop looking for validation for them to do it and police in our community. We got to police our community so that type of shit don't happen. You know what I mean? That's the way I see it.
Could you repeat that question, please?
Okay. The question was, it has been over 100 days since Mr. George Floyd's killing. How have you changed? How have your view of the world changed? And how
Boots on the ground. That's a definite.
yes.
We have to have the front lines. We have to have the protesters. We definitely have to do that. However, we also have to have our people paying attention to these laws, these bills that are coming up before they're made laws. We also have we have elected officials in this city, and they're not being held accountable by us. That experience that day at that rally, it did something to me. I'm an older generation. It did something to me because really, it took me 3 days to assess all that had just transpired and get my emotions back intact because I was enraged. I was not proud of my reaction, but I'm also on a
Same here.
my reaction.
Same here.
That's between me and the good Lord, we worked that out. But, you know, when I saw, and they responded to a dog whistle, you're not gonna tell me that they did. They were called to do what they do. And then we had, right after that, the Columbus statue beheaded.
Yes.
What really bothered me was for our mayor to come out and make a public statement about the behavior of the one person who had beheaded a block of cement, but had nothing to say about the behavior of those rats that showed up at our peaceful rally where we had women and children there, young people.
Facts.
So if it took me 3 days to assess that and get my emotions intact, what do you think that did to some of those children that might have been there, or women that might have been there, or other people that might have been there? And the mayor didn't even acknowledge it, had nothing to say. That's because they're his people.
There you go.
That's the blue. And it really, it makes me angry. I am unapologetically one angry black woman about the stuff that I'm seeing going on. And I'm not one to stand down myself. After that, we had, and I'm sorry if I'm taking too much time, but we had the young people have their rally on the green. That was so fresh. What had happened to us was so fresh to me. I didn't want to go to their rally, their protest on the green. You know why I went? To make sure that that didn't happen to them.
Yes.
Without me being there to intervene, say something, do something, whatever. Who? I thought our young people, this is their time. They're out there doing their thing. I might not agree with all the methods, but you know what? Do you, boo. Do your thing. However, that our communities offend nobody in this room. If you're offended, I may apologize, you can talk to me after.
Preach.
A bunch of cowards. Because I'm gonna tell you, I reached out. I reached out to folks, I reached out to groups, I reached out to people. Let me tell you who responded. People that responded were so deep, I didn't get involved. I had to pull up. I didn't go so deep. Water started getting dangerous. But out of town, people from out of town, ready to roll up, and all of this kind of stuff. Listen, if that's what has to happen, that's what has to happen. However, it should. We got all these black men out here doing their thing, wearing their colors, gang banging, whatever, all of this happy horse crap, whatever. Where are you at, black men, to protect your women and your children out here putting in work? And it pisses me off.
Probably the youngest one here. So my worldview is probably still developing, but I consider it developed. And it's unfortunate because I felt like in our society we had to develop at a quicker pace. And that's the case with a lot of young people going on right now. Like Christina was just talking about. It's maybe in my early 20s and my teens were bad, but for the most part, everything is just, all right, it's fine. Like, you're just going about your day, spot, you're just like, everything's messed up, and everything's wrong. And then your future is like, and people tell you it's been like this for a while now, you're like, it's been like this for a while. No one was thinking about this. You know, all the people getting killed by the police, nobody thought to put body cams on that happened since slave time. And it seems that a lot of things now are reactionary. And I like to consider myself a better person. I like to jump on. You know, if someone's getting arrested for selling drugs, I like to ask myself why they're selling drugs. That's the worldview that I developed for the past, 6, 7 years since Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor, Fernando Castillo, August Sterling, all the other George Floyd. And then I start recognizing the tactics that the oppressors put in. When George Floyd when he first died, the family got up there. When the riots started, the family got up there. It was like, oh, these riots aren't going to bring him back. We can't do that. So the first immediate thought was that too. My immediate thought was like, who made you come there and say that? And then my second thought was, like Negro, this isn't just about George Floyd. Like, George Floyd is one. It's about a history, a whole history of oppression and violence on Black lives. So what I realized is I'm not settling. And that's my view, I'm not settling. You could come to me with an agenda for me, whatever, I'm nitpicking. And there's one thing I don't like in there, I'm throwing it all right from the start. And I'm going to help put that agenda together. Because nobody knows the issue for the Black community besides the Black community. And nobody knows the issues for the Black community except the vulnerable people in the Black community. Like we were talking about the clergy members that they're not really on our side. That's true. So they know the problems, but they don't want to handle it. They don't want to address them the right way. So they shouldn't even be in the decision-making process either. So, like I said, what we need to do as a community is get the people who have like-minded interests. There are people who are just like-minded in general, and we need to develop an agenda. We need to come up with a plan. We got to write the resolution for laws that we need, and then we bring it to their doorstep. That's what's supposed to happen.
All right. Yeah, good job. Most people think in 2020, civil unrest and this energy of wanting to end white supremacy and wanting to end racism and wanting to end police brutality started when George Floyd died. It started March 13th when Breonna Taylor got killed in her home. All right, Black woman got killed in her home by 3 police officers, and still no one has been charged. George Floyd died, what, May 25th, if I'm not mistaken? 23rd? May 23rd? Breonna Taylor was March 13th. People on the streets in Louisville, March 13th, March 14th, and on. So it really didn't happen with George Floyd. It was like the shit was already happening, but what the media does, in a sense, right, they take what they want to take and put it to the top. That's right. We have to be able to see that. That's another thing. Black people, we don't control enough of our media. We rely on too much media from other sources that are not our own. I do understand we can't trust all of our people, but we need more media sources. We need the truth on the ground. How do we get to a better place? On May 31st, we had a protest in Waterbury. There was probably 5,000 people. The mayor said to me himself, it's the first time I've seen him this whole year at that, right? It's the only time I've seen him this whole year at that. He said to me that day, when the people were on the highway, he said to me that day that this is the biggest thing Waterbury has ever seen. And to me, I took it a little different than most people. Some people would have took it as like a compliment, like this is the amazing thing. But me, I ran against the guy for mayor. I didn't run just because I just wanted to cause an uproar is because I've been looking at these things for a long time, and how do we end them, and how do we get to a place where people are proactive about getting these things, these issues addressed, and not waiting until it happens and we're on the highway protesting and trying to acknowledge it, right? So one thing that really stuck out to me was when he said that to me, I felt as though he felt powerless in that moment. He literally felt powerless. He felt like he had no control. So what happened was, when everyone came off the highway, 5,000 people peacefully protesting in Waterbury. Regardless of wherever they went, into public streets, they could go wherever they want to go. That day, many of you guys don't know, we called it the Waterbury 28. There were 28 people, women, children, arrested for peacefully protesting. That didn't, I look at it and I look around Connecticut, because this happened nowhere else around Connecticut, let alone the nation, this amount of arrests with no violence at all. You talk about Louis Pizza being open and being the way going in there and getting a slice of Louis Pizza while 5,000 people are walking past. The people that were part of that protest made sure our city was protected. We also wanted to make sure that our message was heard. And the higher up, that mayor, he knew, and maybe the police chief, I'm not too sure, I really can't feel that, but they knew that they were powerless. And to our people, what's most important, and we try and get this to our people, we really try and push it to some, even of our elders that we have spoke with, that we have to be able to feel that power to know we can do certain things. If a lot of people tell us, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta move like this, you gotta move like that, we don't understand it. We need to feel it. That day, we felt our power. There was nothing, we knew if we wanted to go to town block with 5,000 people, the energy was what our administration did in this city. And it hasn't, like I said, I gotta make this clear, it hasn't been done like this nowhere else in Connecticut, let alone the nation. They arrested 28 people. Now the stories we heard from how they were treated once they were in the police department, right? It's completely different. We're talking about, people getting placed on the ground, no social distancing, no masks, nothing. Not only that though, but just some of the language that was said to some of the mothers, to some of the black mothers. You got white officers that were telling black mothers, if you cared about your children, you wouldn't be out here protesting. Oh, we got all that stuff, but it's just like this. It's so it's so heartbreaking in a sense. To me, honestly, as a black man, as someone that I would say that's new to really fight for our people. I always fought for my circle, for my family around me, but over the last 2 years, 3 years, I really understood it's bigger than even my family. It's officers give a black officer a hug. As soon as they turn it back, the sergeant's given a command for them to be arrested. Within 5 get to a place where it's only about change. It's only about policy change. The first step of the change is to take notice. So that was so they can address it. And they're fighting hard against that. I'm saying to myself, well, I told the team, the lid's off. The lid's off. And, and, and how equity networks, we have to develop ways to keep ourselves sustained. It is city of 110,000 people. Because the people that are not for us, they're going to double down. They're going to double down like never before, and to with our black